Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-free review for Star Wars Visions Volume 2. We can't choose where our calling takes us, only whether or not to answer. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-free review for Star Wars Visions Volume 2. My name is Nate, and if you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast focusing on the world of movies, TV shows, games, toys, and collectibles, and all things geek-centric. Joining me for this review, we've got my brothers in the Force, Justin and Darcy. How are you doing this fine evening?
I have a vision, and we're about to give this series I won't spoil it.
Won't spoil it like that.
I won't spoil the vision, but I have a vision, guys. I have a vision.
If you've been following us on this podcast, you probably all have a vision. And Darcy, he gets visions all the time. Darcy, are you having a vision right now?
What? I get visions? This is news to me.
We get visions sometimes.
I don't know how spice works in your house.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I don't know.
The spices that
I've
we
never done
in.
it.
Yeah.
I liked this season, if that's what you're getting at, and I think that's what we're all getting at right now. So why don't we just get into what we liked about it?
Well, we definitely will. Just before we do, though, just for our listeners who probably are aware, but not quite fully aware, Star Wars Visions stretches beyond any one form of animation and serves as a broader framework for celebratory expressions of Star Wars storytelling. And Volume 2 showcases that potential as the shorts go on a global tour celebrating the incredible animation happening across countries and cultures through the mythos of Star Wars. That's the official description for this season. Of course, this is the second season or second volume of Star Wars Visions. For our thoughts on Volume 1, we also have that review out. In fact, we have that and a spoiler-filled version of that review. You got to kind of scroll.
Yeah,
scroll a little further back, but yes,
there's got to be a search somewhere on your podcast.
For it, I'm sure.
Just add Geekcentric in there, you'll find it.
But with these reviews, we normally go what worked, what didn't. I don't really think that second category matters. Guys, I want to kick it off and actually just sort of start off and maybe just jump into what was your favorite episode from Volume 2, if we want to just kick it off there.
I mean, I've been thinking about that the entire time watching this series, and I feel like every episode it was changing.
Yes.
But on the second rewatch, I think I really hammered it down, and my favorite was definitely Journey to the Dark Head. Ooh. There's something about the character design, the story, just everything about that short worked so well for me, and I just loved everything about it.
Yeah, that one is a South Korean Studio Mir. Totally phenomenal, and I love that it's kind of like it's prehistoric almost. It's at an age of Jedi that is like so far back. And dude, you're absolutely right with the animation. And I don't know about you, but for the screeners that we got for that episode, they were in Korean. Right, so I think the option on Disney Plus that you will be able to watch it in both an English dub and a Korean dub. I implore you to watch it in the Korean dub. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm with Darcy. This was really tough to think about because I think at any given point, it sort of shifts as to what would be your favorite for animation style, for storytelling. I think the one that I would have to lean on is In the Stars from Punk Robot. I really, really loved that one. The follow-up to that one, which is I Am Your Mother from Armin Studios, is so delightful.
I cried.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's a given. But I just think the marriage of Star Wars and heartfelt comedy and just a new perspective on family. It was just such great stories, and they'll leave you in awe of the possibilities of what can be done in this galaxy.
Yeah, and I think for myself, oh my gosh, it was funny because as we were watching this, like you guys were saying, like each episode, I'm like, okay, that's my favorite, and then we get to the next one, I'm like, okay, that one's my favorite.
Well, I think your favorite might be my favorite from an animation standpoint. Like I like the story, but well, let's see.
Let's see what his is. Come on,
yeah,
come on.
I'm
guessing
for
him.
I'm just guessing here.
I'm gonna go with the Spy Dancer from Studio La Cachette. I actually think it's absolutely phenomenal. I love that studio, and I love the way that they I think the coolest thing with this, and it's kind of tough to review, right? Because we are talking about 9 different short films at any given time, and so we're not necessarily playing within just one animation style or
One story.
one story style
Yeah.
or storytelling narrative style. I think the Spy Dancer is such a cool. Sort of the way that it's done is absolutely phenomenal. If you've ever watched, I think if you've ever watched the Genndy Tartakovsky series Primal, this is the same studio from there, and they've done some work on things like Love, Death, and Robots, and other different sort of really artsy styles, and it's cool because I think one of the things that I noticed specifically with that episode is that they play with the idea of characters don't all have to be a uniform shape. I saw some chunky stormtroopers, and I was like, could I cosplay? I felt seen. Could I cosplay as a stormtrooper finally? But even just the idea that I think this is true for, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, any of these stories, I would be like, okay, when's the next episode? You know what I mean? Like, I want to watch more. I want to see more from these stories.
Yeah.
And they're so riveting and so captivating in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we had the same feeling after the first season. We were all like, give us spin-offs of some of those stories, because again, they introduce us to these worlds that are immediately so engrossing and so fresh, because they are Star Wars, but it's not like any Star Wars we've experienced before. And that's why I think they're so gripping, is because it is a new type of Star Wars, and I love it for that. But yeah, give us more. Give us like a little mini series, like 3 episodes every now and then from a different company.
Ooh, okay,
I'd love that.
I'd be on board for a mini series. I just wonder though if the beauty of these volumes is that short concept. Like, that's what really helps these stories sink so well, right? Because you're with them and you might be left with wanting more, but that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's rather than delivering on giving you a full series with that animation style or with that studio, it's like, this is a taste. And more or less, this is a taste of what happens when you put Star Wars in the hands of other storytellers and animation studios that can bring their own flair to this galaxy. So I think that's really great. I will say that was not the episode that I thought you were going to pick as your favorite, Nate. I did think that you were going to go with Awa Song.
Really good too.
From Tigerfish, because honestly, like, that in itself, like I said before, the animation in that episode is like, oh my God, this is incredible.
So
like
good.
Texture, you can think, like, when you look at it, you're like, I know what that feels like. I know what that's going to feel like. So just such great work from them as well. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to shout that out from an animation standpoint.
I want, for me, one of the animation standouts was the episode before, was the pit. I mean, just the way that they played with light and dark in that one episode, and just the story itself was so grounded and so real. I loved it, and it was again, each of these things is so unique and so standalone from whatever comes before or after, and the only unifying storyline is Star Wars. And the fact that we can get so many unique stories from this one galaxy is incredible. That's why I love it. I love this series. Give me more visions.
Well, Leandre Thomas, the director for that, for the pit, he manages to take a really strong message and imbue it. And I think obviously all of these shorts have that, but one of the things that I loved about this season in particular was the fact that not all of these stories are going to be, I'm not going to spoil anything, but not all these stories are just going to be fully happy. I think a lot of people, there's that misconception, and it's very unfortunate out there, that oh yeah, because it's animation, they're all going to be, happy by the end of it. And that is not true. These stories go to some dark places, and you feel it, and I think it's so impactful, and I absolutely adored that about this one. I think for me, like, one of the other ones that really stood out in that way was Screecher's Reach. I think is fantastic. I highly recommend. Maybe not ending on that episode. I would say, go in the order that the episodes
for sure
are listed, because Ao's Song, you're gonna have a nicer time, I think. But no, it's honestly, it's so refreshing every single episode. Just sort of, there's always that moment of wow, like, just always that moment of something, what I'm watching here, I'm feeling it at the same time, and it's so cool. It's some of the most refreshing Star Wars that we've gotten in since Visions Volume 1.
Nate's buzzword for this episode. Refreshing.
Refreshing.
Yeah, there you go. No, I couldn't agree more, Nate. I think, the reality is that, as I was mentioning before, the ambiguity, the want and desire, the idea that not everything needs to end so conclusive in each of these shorts is what makes them a huge success. That's the beauty of shorts, right? It leaves you thinking, and it can leave you wanting more. But another thing that like I really enjoyed about the themes explored, in the interview that I was referencing before, which you can go listen to right now, James Waugh very much spoke about the idea of stripping the Star Wars out of it to focus on the story that they're trying to tell. And each of these stories have such a human connection that still connect with the tropes of Star Wars, like Sith and Jedi, good, evil, rebel, empire, you know what I mean? Familial relationships. And the familial relationships are explored even so much more. Mothers and daughters are very much on the forefront, and I love that. I love that perspective, because I think Star Wars has always had daddy issues more or less throughout, and I think that I think it's really great that we can see new stories told. There's a great perspective from brother and sister in the story from India from 88 Pictures. It was absolutely lovely, and the thing that sort of binds them together and makes them that consistent thread is that human touch that they each have, that they connect with you. So it's refreshing.
Well, I think, yes, the Bandits of Golak is the episode you're referring to. Super. Honestly, it's such a fantastic, and that one again, such a different animation style, and just kind of going back to the animations, kind of the choices that they were making. I mean, again, we're seeing Aardman Studios, we're seeing that Wallace and Gromit-esque style and the comedy that's there, and it's so much fun. But then, like you said, something like In the Stars from Gabriel Osorio, where they used a mix of digital 3D, stop motion animation, hand painted backgrounds, and then the craziest thing, and what we were kind of talking about in terms of reaching out and feeling like you could touch the animation. They used actual plants from deep within Patagonia, where they actually like put them in the short, and it's just so cool the way that they were able to do all this. And I think the other thing that Justin, you and I were talking about from a narrative perspective, and I know we're kind of going all over the place, but heck, who cares?
It's all positive, man. It's all positive.
But I wanted to say, like, you and I were talking about, and you mentioned this in the interview, the idea of Star Wars fans being very specific about, well, this is how the Force works. This is the rules for this. This is how this needs to be. Very much how what they want Star Wars to be, and not what it could be. Mm-hmm. And I think I think with this series, the beautiful part about it, and we talked about the episode, the very first episode specifically, which was just called Sith, where the short kind of takes place in sort of a blank canvas of space that gets filled out throughout over the course of the film, and it's absolutely beautiful. But it's one of those things where, well, how does the Force work to do that? Is that a special Force power? You know what? It doesn't matter. None of that matters, and that's the beautiful part about this, is that we get the flavoring of Star Wars. We get the sort of the overall look of Star Wars and the feel of Star Wars, but we get these stories that are just so connected to these creators, and it's so beautiful. It's refreshing, honestly.
It's and it's incredible to at least have each other to kind of talk to, because I know I watched it before you guys, and I remember talking to Nate about the first one after you had watched it, and I wasn't too hot on it. I was like, I didn't really get it, right? And then
I was like, open up your mind, Justin.
No, like, right? we were talking about like just the idea of these shorts being perspectives of the Star Wars galaxy, not definitive, and that is what you're very much talking about, and that's where I kind of came up with this idea that we have to be open to the idea of what Star Wars can be outside of what we want it to be, and what we
already know. Yeah.
Exactly, and what we know and what we expect it to be. So it's and I think the first one does very much open up that box of think differently, if you will, about Star Wars through this art of animation.
It's beautiful, the fact that we're starting with Sith, which is all about adding color to the world around the characters. When in volume 1 we started with that first episode, which was the duel, which was all in black and white. And I just think it's such a cool sort of juxtaposition there. Sorry, go ahead, Darcy.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, it's in the name of the show. It's Star Wars Visions. It's not Star Wars Legends or anything like that. These are visions, of just the Force at large, basically.
Yep. It's all there.
Again, it's so cool. I mean, one of my favorite parts, going back to, animation style, is the fact that we're seeing a lot of, old aliens or species and races that we're so familiar with in these new styles. It's so much fun, but it's also fun to see new aliens and think about what they might look like in the greater Star Wars universe. Like, this series is so good at making you think about Star Wars in a whole different way. Mm-hmm. And that's what is really needed, because again, Star Wars is so much more than the Skywalkers and their lightsabers. So it's really cool to get these little visions into what could be. I love it.
Got it in there. You got that word in there. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I just wanted to mention as well, I think the voice casts, something we haven't even talked about, the voice casts for every single one of these are fantastic. And I love the idea that, coming from an Irish background, Screecher's Reach featuring mostly Irish accents and Irish voices is so cool. We've got Chilean accents. We've got accents of folks from South Africa. We've got, Korean voice dub, French accents, like just a lot of these different characters and these voices that we haven't necessarily heard in Star Wars in general. And I love that that's kind of something that we're getting. And there's some big stars in some of these episodes. Like, I think with the Pit, we've
Daveed
got
Diggs.
Daveed Diggs is in there, and as soon as you hear him, you're just like, "That's Daveed Diggs," and it's so freaking cool. I know that the Screecher's Reach also does feature Angelica Houston in Screecher's Reach. Was just, again, it's one of those voices that you hear, and you'll I'm not going to spoil who she is, but you'll hear her, and it's just one of those moments where you're just like, of course, it's absolutely fantastic.
Is she Irish?
No, she's not Irish. She's the 10% of the cast that isn't Irish.
Okay, I thought everyone in that was supposed to be Irish. So
yeah,
I guess that's clear. Okay.
Just a fun little fact as well, by the way. The Korean voice actors in Journey to the Dark Head were also the Korean voice actors who've done dubs for Leia, Obi-Wan, and Kylo Ren, which is just so cool to also think about the way that they're sort of tying in and bringing these folks in to more Star Wars. And again, I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. Star Wars Visions Volume 1 focusing on Japanese anime and allowing those incredible creators to focus and hone and work on their craft within the world of Star Wars was a phenomenal thing. But then getting to open it up globally, and I think that's the biggest thing, is Star Wars this proves it. Star Wars is made better when you get more voices working with Star Wars. Like, that's ultimately it. And I think that is what excites me about the future of Star Wars, is that this is a phenomenal sort of proof, if you will, that you know what, you can give Star Wars to people from across the globe, and we're going to get some incredible stories out of it. And I can't wait. I really hope that Lucasfilm decides to just continue with some of these, as we were saying, some of these studios or some of these voices, bring them back, have them make more stories, because clearly, based on these shorts, they can do it. It's phenomenal. But with that said, guys, let's get to our final thoughts, and I'd love to know your score for this on a scale of 1 to 5 visions. Justin, I'll have you kick us off.
It's not a season 1 thing. Again, Star Wars Visions Volume 2, it is a stunning showcase of the power of animation and the limitless possibilities of storytelling within the Star Wars universe. The series brings together these 9 unique and diverse visions from some of the most talented studios and creators in the industry, and it offers their own interpretation on this franchise. That's the best thing that we could ask for from Star Wars. One of the standout aspects of this collection is the incredible range of storytelling, as we were discussing. Like, we have epic action-packed battles like the Sith or Journey to the Dark Head, or we have these more introspective and emotional journey stories like In the Stars and The Pit. But each episode is offering something unique. The animation itself is a true feast for the eyes. Like, it is the unifying part that really celebrates diversity in these series of shorts. Each episode uses color, light, textures, painterly aesthetics, bringing their own distinct visuals that perfectly capture the essence of Star Wars, but in a new lens. The attention to detail in the character design and the world building as well, like you were pointing out, Darcy, like with the creatures and the aliens, like to see some of those translate from live action into animation, but to see what might be shown in animation show up in live action, like that's, they're playing with each other in that sense, right? And I think that, it brings new life to the familiar concepts while introducing exciting new elements, like things that you just get pumped about for Star Wars. But I think the most exciting aspect is, Star Wars Visions Volume 2 is the way it expands the Star Wars universe. It allows these creators to put their own stamp on the franchise. The series offers a glimpse into the boundless potential of the Star Wars universe. It's an exciting reminder that there are countless stories to be told within this galaxy far, far away, and that each one has the potential to be just as thrilling and engaging as the last. It is a must watch. Like, it is a must watch for Star Wars fans, for animation fans, for anyone who loves the two together, which hopefully if you're listening to this, you love both. It is offering the perspective on the franchise while staying true to the core elements. This is a fantastic addition to the Star Wars canon, and a reminder of just how much potential there is in telling stories in this galaxy. So 5 out of 5 visions again for this Volume 2. This is some great stuff, man. I absolutely love it. If that didn't tell you enough.
Darcy, how about yourself?
I mean, mine's pretty much same thoughts as you guys, that everything about this series of short films works so well in expanding the Star Wars universe in new, refreshing ways. I can't speak enough about how exciting it is to explore other cultures through the lens of Star Wars, because like we said, in the way that characters are designed, to the way that they use music, also inspired by the cultural, areas that these shorts are coming from. It's incredible. Everything about it is so enjoyable. And I've watched them twice already. I'll probably watch them 5 more times before we talk about it again, because I just love the series so much. It's so unique and so refreshing. It's an easy 5 out of 5 visions for me. I don't know what else to say. I loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would never recommend on a first or second watch to watch it passively. But I think this is a series that honestly I would gladly just put onto my beautiful television and just have running in the background as I'm, working around the room, or if I have friends over and I just want something on in the background. Honestly, there's not a single frame of this entire series, Volume 1 and 2, that I don't think anyone would not want on their walls at all times, or at least I know I would want them on my walls at all times. And definitely check out the art book. The art book for Visions Volume 1 is out. I cannot wait for the art book for Volume 2.
God,
I'm gonna just freaking look at that all day long.
I think it'd be great if they released a behind the scenes. Like working with each studio.
Well, I mean, they did that for Volume 1, so hopefully we'll get that on Volume 2 as well. So hopefully we'll get to check that out on Disney Plus once this series launches, which again is May 4th, which will be tomorrow if you're listening to this on the night of release. But guys, and my score, dude, let me go here. Do you guys have another 10 minutes? Here we go.
5
out of 5 visions. That's 5 out of 5 visions. That's what I'm giving it. We don't need to go on any further. But that is it for our spoiler-free review for Star Wars Visions Volume 2. If you enjoyed it, well, hopefully you did, please subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts. And keep in mind, we also have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows, games, including our recent spoiler-free reviews for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Dungeons and Dragons. We also wrapped our Mandalorian Watch Club for Season 3. Which is coming out tomorrow. So if you want to hear our thoughts on that finale, as well as the season as a whole, you can definitely check that out tomorrow, May the 4th, as part of your May the 4th celebrations. We'll also have some TikToks, which are, kind of cutting together some interesting moments from different Star Wars interviews that we've done recently. So you can check that out at TikTok at We Are Geekcentric. Oh, it was crazy. I mean, our Star Wars Celebration recap, and then I was talking about the people that we interviewed, and the majority of them were all at Star Wars Celebration. It was so cool. Shout out to Disney Studios Canada, Lucasfilm, all the wonderful folks who've helped us to be able to do these things. And we also have some interviews, believe it or not, that aren't Star Wars related, like our interview with Aisha Tyler or our interview with Alyssa Wapanatuk, who plays Tiger Lily in Peter Pan and Wendy. And as we mentioned, of course, our interviews with executive producers of Star Wars Visions Volume 2, James Waugh, Jackie Lopez, and Josh Rhimes. Those are available right now, so you can listen to those if you haven't already. And you can also watch some of those interviews on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. Coming soon. We're talking about Star Wars Visions Volume 2. I mean, this is the last time I'm going to make this joke, I think. We just take the dial and we turn it up one volume because we've got
after this, there's no more volume jokes.
No more volume jokes. Unless we're talking about the volume, like in Mandalorian Season 4.
I guess.
But you turn the volume up one knob, and we're at Volume 3. We're going to have some coverage for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We've got our coverage for that. Our review is actually out now for Guardians of the Galaxy. Spoiler free. Don't worry, we're not going to spoil. All I will spoil is that I cried my eyeballs out. I think we all did. But in the review no. But we also have some phenomenal interviews coming out May 5th. So be sure to subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. Subscribe, leave us a 5-star review. That really does help us out. If you like, if you comment, if you share, all of these things, they take just a second to do, and they really, really do impact and help us to kind of keep doing what we love doing and getting these wonderful opportunities. And we're so thankful
Star Wars.
Anyone and everyone that we get to talk to, but especially folks from Star Wars. Justin, Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this spoiler-free review. And as we say, love ya.
Laters.
Peace.